Really excited about this guest we have on the Paul Rivera Podcast show. We have none other than the shoe surgeon. On this episode, he talks about how he got into the shoe game. He talks about how brands like Nike, Adi, and others feel about him. And he talks about the first time he did a shoe for LeBron James, and it didn't go exactly how he planned at first. And so much more. Hope you enjoy the show. Welcome. Here we are, another episode of the Paul Rivera Podcast. I have a confession to make right off the top. Anytime I've done a show, any sort of podcast, it's been with someone I've known, I have a relationship with, and it's been a very informal conversation. This is the first podcast that I actually meet the gentleman, my guest, that I'm about to introduce on the show. So we've met, as most people do these days, online, social media, huge fan of his work. We connected, and actually we were gonna connect on some let's just break bread and see what you got going on, what I got going on. And it was like, oh, by the way, you're gonna be in New York? Why don't you be on my podcast show? And he was like, would love to, let's make it happen. And so happy it happened. Want to introduce, I always say this, but I feel none of my guests need an introduction, but I will anyway. Dominic Chambrone.
Yeah, that's good.
Close enough?
Yeah.
But you probably know him better known as the shoe surgeon. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Listen, I was trying to, any of you that have been listening or watching the show know I've been on my fitness shit lately. Been working out. I got a trainer.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, water. My assistant's handing me a bottle of water every 5 minutes. All of that. My guest comes in. Do you want a drink? 1942. I can't let him drink alone. So if my trainer happens to be watching this, it's just about me being a good host. It's not that I even wanted to drink, but cheers. Happy you're here, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Special occasion.
Yes, absolutely. So let's get right into it. I think, for me, your story is incredible to me. You have a very non-traditional story, so I want to kind of, start at the beginning and work our way to the current. Where's home? Where are you from?
I was born in Orange County, but I just say that because I was born there, but I was raised up in the Bay Area, so Santa Rosa, California is an hour north of San Francisco.
Okay, and where are you now? Where's home base now?
Now, I've been 4 years in Los Angeles.
Okay. And then, did you go to school for what you do? College, design school? Talk to me.
No, after high school, I barely graduated. I was thinking of design school and art colleges, but the money was very scary for me. And then just committing to having to sit there and follow someone's rules, that just wasn't for me. So everything that I know is either self-taught or, some mentorships. Take a little bit from shoe repair, took a traditional shoemaking class. Other, customizers would help with things here and there. But, I took all of this knowledge out of 15 years and turned it into what I do now.
I assume you grew up loving sneakers, right?
Yeah, so how I got into sneakers, before I got into sneakers, I was always a kid that was creating. I was building forts in my backyard with hammer and nails at age 10.
I still can't do that shit. It's impressive.
I can't anymore. But so I was always creative, and then high school came. I had one older brother, two younger brothers. My older brother played basketball, soccer, football. He was friends with everyone, and I came into high school my freshman year. I was shy and quiet. I didn't really like talking to people. I didn't know how to express myself, and I had an older cousin that had the original 1985 Chicagos. I didn't know what they were yet, so she let me wear them. They're a little too tight. It was
so you're wearing your female cousins.
It was a size 8. I think I was a size 9. She let me wear them, and I had a Jordan. It's my first time in high school. You don't know when you go into high school, you're kind of scared. You don't know what to expect. And I wore them, and everyone walking through the halls was like, "Yo, what are those? Those give me pounds across the hallway." And I was just like, "Oh man, I don't have to say anything to anyone."
I like this.
I don't need to say a word, and people respect me or whatever it is. So that's when it was instantly okay, now I need to figure out what's the next shoe. So then I was just working at like the store in the mall, like a sports store. Made friends with older guys that would backdoor Jordans. So then it was like getting the Jordans early. So I'd get a pair of Jordans and then I'd wear them to like a Foot Locker before they were released. And that was that same feeling. Like I can go in and just, the guy would look at me and I would just like smile and give him that head nod. And that made me feel
By the
special.
way, I still do this, by the way. As a grown-ass man, I still do that. I get a pair of LeBrons early, whatever, just casually like, oh, these things? Yeah, I think we'll do that forever.
Yeah, for me, it's just, it changed. I mean, the story is crazy because it was always about like me wearing something special. And then after getting those Jordans early, my whole crew had those Jordans. So what was the next thing? There was no next, like, you know, we literally had to text or call each other like, what Jordans you wearing today? And it was just like, this sucks. This doesn't make me feel good anymore. Like, everyone had the same shoes. So I picked up an airbrushed an all-white Air Force One mid in a full camouflage.
How old are you when this is?
16.
Wow. Okay.
16. Did it. Went to school. People flipped. People were like, "Oh, where'd you get those ones?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I made them." You know, I mean, I painted them and I painted it with like a model paint, so they cracked right when I wore them. But there was just something about creating something that I did with my own hands and wearing it and getting even better feedback. So then that was instantly like, okay, you got to figure this out. And then it was always about quality for me. How do you get better quality? So then it was like, how do I find better paint? And then it was like years of progression. You know, I barely graduated high school. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina when I was 18, 19, just because my uncle moved out there. And
We
I feel
have like 2 listeners in Charlotte, I'm sure. So shout out to those
man,
two.
it's just, Charlotte played a huge role in my career.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I came from Northern California. Even just California is just like, how do you explain it? Surfer. It's just like relaxed, laid back. You know, when I moved to Charlotte, I learned about, I ran into a Tandy leather factory. That's when I got into the first shoe repair shop that I've got into that. But I used to go to all the malls, and you go to a mall, you go to a kiosk, there was already dudes airbrushing Air Force Ones or Uptowns, right, yeah. And I didn't have that in California. So I got to like learn more about the culture and like the real shoe shit that's been happening for years. So I got to see that, and I got to really, you know, be a part of it for a little bit. And, you know, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to take it to the next level. So all of these little things played a huge role. But actually, when I moved to Charlotte, I was, 8-hour drive, 6-hour drive to New York City?
Give or take, yeah. Sounds all right.
So in California, you can drive over the whole coast, and that's, you know, LA to San Francisco is like 6 hours. So that's a normal drive for us. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take that drive. I'm gonna go to New York City. It's the city I wanted to go to. I was close to it. So I drove up with a friend and my brother at the time, and just to feel the energy, to go to the sneaker shops back. This was 2005, 2006.
Okay.
And I happened to go to the Bape store, and Pharrell was outside. Pharrell was just one of my...
just casually, Pharrell just
happens. Pharrell was there.
Such a New York City story right there. I love it.
Who else was there? Who's the guy that does the videos? Hype Williams.
Hype Williams, yeah.
They were all there, and I'm just like... You know, I was young, and I was just so...
You're like, I'm not going back.
That was the first time that I was just like starstruck, because Pharrell Williams was the guy that I looked up to, from fashion to hustle to style, music, everything. So, you know, I got to meet him, and it was funny because I had like a tall tee, I had like long surfer hair with a grill. It was crazy times for me. I got a photo that was hilarious. But yeah, I got this energy from New York City that because of being in North Carolina, I was able to get close to New York City. And at that time when I was driving back from New York City, that's when I came up with the shoe surgeon. There's something about that trip that was just like, you need to come up with like an alias. It wasn't really a business. It was just like, what are you going to call yourself? Mm-hmm. And at the time it was, what was it? Shoe Surgeons. So with a money sign and a Z.
Gotcha. Of course.
So it was me and a homie, and just because it made sense. Like I was taking shoes apart, putting them back together, and like a shoe surgeon.
Now, are you getting money doing this at the time? Is it a business? What do you like?
No, like even in high school. So to go back in high school, so I made the shoes. I started painting for shoes for myself, but then I started painting them for other people because everyone was like, "Oh, make mine," and then it was like, "Fuck, I can't make stuff for myself anymore. It's about other people." But it still wasn't business because I didn't feel good about charging someone when I wasn't happy with the quality.
Gotcha.
That took many years to overcome. Like even in North Carolina, that maybe I was charging $100 to do something, which would take you a week worth of work, so you weren't actually making money. So after being in Charlotte for about a year, I moved back to Northern California, and I started searching out shoe repair shops because, there was something about we didn't have shoe making in the United States. We had like cowboy boot makers, maybe like traditional boot makers, traditional shoes, but like I was on a journey to make the most expensive sneakers. It just didn't exist. I mean, you can go to Italy and do stuff, but I wanted to do it by hand. And so I started searching out shoe repair shops, and the first guy just cursed me away, like, "Get the fuck out of here. You're going to take my business." Like, and I was like 19. I was just like, how can someone, this older guy, I was just like, I didn't understand. It made me feel really shitty. So, but the same exact day I went down to another shoe repair shop because if someone tells me no, that makes me want to do it more. So then I go to another guy. He was disinterested. He was busy. I don't know if you've ever been to a shoe repair shop, but it's not the most fun job, and they don't make the most money. So then I went to a third shoe repair guy who was an older Italian guy that just liked to talk. So luckily I was able to just, have a conversation with him. He helped me like find a sewing machine that I needed to purchase. But then I was like, "Hey, I want to learn this." And
let me ask you that. It's a great. You're 19, right? It would have been easy for you to say, "I got this shit figured out. I'm dope. I got the most style out of anyone in my crew. I'll just stay in my basement or my garage and design some kicks." What was the thinking behind saying, "Let me learn this craft"? Because to me, that when I looked up your history, that was super impressive to me. That a 19-year-old would say, "Let me do this. That's not glamorous. That none of my friends are gonna think it's dope. I'm not gonna get any chicks because I'm doing this." At 19, you're thinking, "Let me learn a craft." What were you thinking?
I think it was so difficult and so challenging. That's what attracted me to it.
Okay.
I like challenges, I guess, and like I could have been screen printing T-shirts. I could have doing the easy stuff, but that didn't fuel my fire. So I don't know. There was something. I didn't think it even existed. I didn't think making custom sneakers was a thing. I didn't think making shoes were a thing. I didn't even when I went to North Carolina, I ran into a leather factory. Tandy Leathers, the biggest chain leather factory in the United States. But I went in there and there was like a rattlesnake on the wall. There was leather tools everywhere. And it just blew me away that you could make something with leather. So all of these little things just started adding up. Then I started getting into the shoe repair. And it's because I didn't know it existed. I thought I think searching, how I say it, I was in search of a hidden craft because it existed, but it didn't exist in the United States.
Got you. Makes sense.
So
how do you translate that into, okay, this is going to be the business I'm going to be in terms of sneakers? Because even shoe repair, you're not repairing Air Force Ones and J's, right? You're repairing, like, as I would call it, like my Titi Brenda's, like church shoes.
No.
Like
when
that.
I started, I was fixing purses and dress shoes and Red Wing boots. You resold boots and.
So how do you go from that to saying, okay, you know what? I think there's a market. I think there's an opportunity. I think I have a passion here. I'm going to go and create a business.
I mean, the way I look at it is like I put myself through 10 to 15 years of schooling. Wow. So at first I got into shoe repair because the shoe repair guy didn't know how to make shoes. He just knew how to like use some of the machines that would still keep me creative and do unique things. So I started putting boot soles on Vans. I started like doing things that didn't exist at the time. I think two years later, that's when Vans was actually putting boot soles. All the companies were putting boot soles. I was like ahead of the time, but I was a kid in an old shoe repair shop just doing custom stuff. And then I started I heard about Black Scale. You know Black Scale?
Heard of it.
Yeah. So they're from San Francisco, and they did a collaboration with Android Home at the time, and it was like a high-end, middle-of-the-line sneaker brand. So I went to the store and saw this sneaker in the store. I saw the video on like Hypebeast or Heist and Mighty back in the day, and it just like there's something that I really liked about it. So I fell in love with like fashion and design, and so I reached out to, his name's Javier Laval, who I reached out to on Facebook at the time, and I don't know, I reach out to people. Like if someone says fuck you, I said cool, like at least I tried. Or I'm not Mr. Cool Guy. Like I'll say hi to anyone on the street. Like what do they say, you miss as many shots as you don't take? Is that how it goes?
It might be the 1942, but it's probably close. It's probably very close to that.
Something like that. So I reached out to him, and I said, hey, I want to learn design. And he said, yeah, you should, like if you want to move to Los Angeles, because he was in Los Angeles, like, I'll let you be an intern. And I never moved at the time, but I built a relationship. And he then reached out to me, I don't know, a few months later, like, hey, do you want to make some shoes for the VMAs? I said, sure. So I made a custom pair of his sneakers for will.i.am to perform in at the VMAs when I was 22, 23. So.
But that's a big fucking deal, like,
yeah.
Right? 22-year-old will.i.am, MTV Awards, like.
It was pretty big, and it was like my first check. I mean, it was like, I think $300, but like I had that check. And it was like something I actually got to create, and it was on TV, and it was a big deal.
Would you say that's your first big like moment, opportunity, break? Like did the light bulb go off? Like okay, we have some traction here. This is something I can.
I think so. At the same time, though, I already had a relationship in LA somehow through a mutual friend, and I was making custom shoes for H. Lorenzo. I don't know if you know the store. It's one of the high-end stores in West Hollywood. So a few things were happening at the same time. Law & Order SVU hit me up about the same time to make shoes for a TV show, for the episode Personal Fouls, if you ever check it out. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff was happening at the same time, so I don't think it was just like the will.i.am, but it was definitely like the energy. So it all happened fast, like at the same time. And then when I delivered the shoes for will.i.am, I got introduced to Justin Bieber's stylist.
Okay.
So then he was, I don't know, young, but he was going on tour. So I started doing all of his tour shoes.
Oh, wow. Which is, again, huge. It's Justin Bieber, right?
That was crazy.
So let me ask you, how would you, because I was thinking about it even like when I'm thinking about how I'm going to introduce you, how do you even introduce yourself? Are you a designer, a customizer, a shoemaker? Like, how do you... Today, as you sit in front of me.
Well, I have to say shoe surgeon. Like,
Absolutely.
I was at the courtside at the game, the Laker game the other day, and I go up to Nipsey. I'm like, shoe surgeon. He's like, oh, what up? Like they all know me by shoe surgeon.
That's
See
dope.
Travis Scott. You say shoe surgeon. He's oh shit, I gotta do some stuff.
That's
like,
dope.
But yeah, if I were to like do an introduction, and I say this a lot, it's like I don't believe in titles. I don't like that shit. Like I'm a janitor. I own my own business, but I don't like the word customizer. I guess I could say, I think it's artist now. Like
Okay.
I'm an artist because I don't just do shoes. I build, me and my wife do clothes. We do, furniture, refurbish things, vintage things, and turn it into a lamp. So it's hard to like give it a.
You're a creative.
Yeah.
You're an artist.
Creator, whatever you want to call it. So
Okay.
I just don't like customizer.
I feel you. It's a watered down thing. Everyone today is a customizer. That guy you see behind the camera would define himself as a customizer.
Yeah.
You've mentioned a couple of times Instagram, social media. What role, if any, did Instagram and social media play in like you coming up?
No, Instagram was huge. Well, I guess social media in general was huge. I made a Python Jordan 4 just because I wanted to for a friend in LA, and I put it on Instagram, and it kind of went viral. And that's when that started a whole industry of like Python Jordans. Like we started the industry because before it was known as fake and like don't touch Jordans.
Of course.
But then there was other people like me just kept pushing it, and then we started like competing. Like quality had to get better, and yeah, that's kind of where it was.
So you just touched on something that like maybe, and there's a lot of interesting shit you have going on, but for me, the biggest challenge question I have for you is we've grown up in a sneaker generation of if you know your shit with sneakers, you're like, those are fakes, those were never made, those are whatever, right? And the flip side of that coin is like, that's your calling card of like, those are never made, those are one-on-ones. Jordan didn't make those. You know, what's that juxtaposition for you, or what's that thought for you on like one-of-ones customs and like fakes?
Yeah, they're just two different worlds. Like when clients would send me fake shoes to redo, I say no. So, you know, people can call my stuff fake and, you know.
And do they? Do people?
Yeah, it was known as that. And even today you see, you know, people making comments about it. But it's like clients provide the shoe. It always comes from a real shoe. And then the goal isn't to be better than the brand that I work with. It's to enhance what they're doing already and just bring even more value. Yep. So, I mean, it's a good question because I really dislike fakes. And I've got asked, like, why don't you just go get fake soles from China and do this? Like, no, like I have some kind of integrity.
It would
like,
make your life easier. It'd be
it'd be cheaper. I'd have a house in LA right now. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? So I hold pretty high integrity of what I do. Like even if I use like any high-end brand like Louis or Gucci, like I use the real shit. I don't like fake stuff because it's just, I don't know.
But that's the artist in you, right? It's like there's a respect for the craft, right? Going back to you again, working in shoe repair and those things.
I've always chose the more, the more challenging route. Why take the easy route?
Absolutely. So you mentioned brands. What's the response been? Because if you told me right now, brands fucking hate me, I'd believe it. And you're like, brands love me, I'd believe it. Like, what's been the relationship with brands, namely like the Nikes, Adis of the world, Jordans of the world?
That's kind of I don't like to say hard. I don't believe in the word hard. So challenging. That's a challenging question to answer because a brand isn't one person, right? There's tons of people involved in a brand. So I believe there is a love and hate, but I've been paid by almost all of the brands to do something. So I think there's a lot of love, but there's always going to be the people that don't like it. And it's a challenge. I feel like the brands want to work with me, but then they don't, just because it's like, you know, I use exotics and then the brands don't use exotics. So I think they can utilize me as a safe ground where they're not getting in trouble for the things I do if there was a reason to get in trouble. Yeah. So,
I mean, I worked at Nike back in the day, and I could see myself, a younger version of me, being like, this is the guy we gotta fuck with. But I could also see my boss being like, that's the guy we don't need to fuck with. Right?
Yeah, no,
so
I think that's
that duality of like.
I mean, that still happens.
Let me ask you one of the things, and like I said, I kind of alluded to this in our intro. I know you just as someone doing really dope shit, right, in the culture, mostly through footwear, sneakers, doing dope custom stuff for people, which we'll get into a little bit later. In doing my research, I didn't even know about shoe surgeon school, right?
Yeah, that's actually why I'm here.
Yeah, which is why you're in New York.
Yeah.
That whole concept blows my mind. I think it's one of the most genius things.
No, thank you.
That I've seen in the culture. I literally was joking with my assistant as I was telling him, JT, who's in the room. I said, damn, I think I'm a pretty successful guy in business. I don't know if I have a skill that I could put a school around and teach people and actually offer a class. Like, talk to me about like.
You can though. I mean, you can always find. I mean.
But thank you. But talk to me about like when did the idea hit? Like, I mean, I'm super excited about. I'm literally gonna sign up for one. I'm that intrigued.
So it's 4 days. So you gotta devote 10-hour days. Yeah, it's a real commitment, but at the same time, it's not, because you know you're not signing up for a 4-year college. You're just getting your feet wet. So there's tons of things. Before I even started the shoe school 3 years ago, before that I was giving lessons to kids because I feel like I didn't get what I needed to in growing up in schooling. Everything that I learned, I cheated to get through. Like I did not want to know it, which now I'm paying for. You know, like math and simple math.
Of course.
But
by the way, I told you I have a 13-year-old son. Try to help him with his homework. It's like Korean. It might as well be Mandarin. I have no clue what they're talking about.
I have 2 kids, so I'll be.
Google, my friend. Google.
But I mean, there was always a side of me that needed to teach and give back. Or it's not even just about like teaching, giving the knowledge. It's inspiring them to be passionate, to find their passion. So so I started the school 3 years ago, and when the first class was in Brooklyn, actually I got asked to do the class, and I didn't know how to feel about it. It was like, oh, you're giving away something that took me 15 years to learn. No one just gave me this. Like it took depression, struggle, all of these like really crazy shit to get where I'm at. So
which is normally what happens with they always say the first person in the door takes most of the bullets, right? So it's like you're creating a new model. Do people think you're fucking crazy in doing this? You're gonna charge people for what? Like no one will sign up for it. Like what were your hopes for the first class? Like
man, for the first class I wanted to sell out. You know, everyone wants to sell it instantly. But when it's something that high price, like it's gonna sell, it's just not gonna be instant. So I think I was trying to sell it for $2,000 a pop, and it didn't sell like instantly. And I freaked out. I was like, "Oh, we gotta lower the price."
So what didn't sell that you? So I'm making it up. You want to get 20? You want to get 20 students, and you got 10, or you got 2 people?
I think so. When I put it for sale, it was 2,000, and I just wanted 15 people. Okay. I don't think one thing sold.
Really?
Well, instantly, right? So it just took some time, but I dropped the price.
At what point do you panic? Like
people were freaking out though, because the price, they're like, "Oh, that price is fucking crazy. Like, we can't afford that." And I'm an artist. Like, well, I don't know. Right. So I dropped the price pretty quickly to $1,450. I just like weird numbers.
Okay.
Could have been $1,500, but I like $1,450.
Sounds like a much better bargain, by the way, to me personally.
Yeah. So ended up selling 9 spots.
Okay. Got some action.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. And I came, and the first class was like, bring any shoe you want. So there was like one guy with a pair of LeBrons, one guy with the Common Projects, the Balenciaga, 2 guys with three guys with different Jordans, a Jordan 5, just crazy, all different shoes. And I'm the only teacher at that time. So I come.
And it's a 4-day class? What is
that? That one is a 5-day class.
Okay.
So I came to teach that class. That was nuts because I was the only one teaching, assisting, sewing, doing everything with 9.
How soon into that class do you realize, okay, I may have fucked this up?
I don't think it really, I didn't feel it till like, the class was supposed to be over on a Friday, and I was there till Saturday helping a guy finish his shoes because he was so passionate. And that was like one thing that I didn't think I was ever going to do it again. But then after, it's like these guys were so passionate just to learn what took me fucking forever to learn that like I'm willing to give back and give them the knowledge that took me so much struggle to get to, because I also thrive off of their energy and their creativity. So if I can help them, it also helps me.
So talk to me, that was the first one. Talk to me, what's the curriculum today?
Today,
2018, you've done a number of them. What's it evolved to?
30 students, 4-day class, focus on one silhouette. And now I have a team that a lot of them came from past classes.
Wow.
So now I have a team. I mean, I could be here right now because I have a whole team setting up the class. And before that was just all me. And, shout out to the team, because without a team, you can only go so far.
Ask LeBron.
Yeah, well, LeBron and Drake and who else? Ronnie Fieg, like all these guys. It's all about building the right team around you,
100%.
and that's the fucking hardest thing.
100%. Great people. Listen, in my business life, not to make it about me, it's like people always ask me, what have been your greatest learnings in building a business or building businesses? The answer is always the same. It's finding great people. You can find money. You can find someone to believe in your idea.
It's easy.
You can find ideas, right? It's finding great people to support you, support your vision, and to be able to help scale.
Yep.
So let me ask you, so the class is about, how quickly does it sell out now? Does it sell out every time?
Yeah. I mean, now it doesn't sell instantly, but it's still a high price thing, and
And you've gone up in price. It's not
yeah,
$1,450 anymore.
It's $3,000, and I personally don't think it's enough because if you have time, you got to come by this weekend and just get the energy.
I would love to.
So people fly from all over the world.
Wow.
Italy, China, Paris, Australia, Dubai. It's crazy. People come from all over the world.
Does that bug you out?
Well, what bugs me out is like I get a call from China or Japan or Mexico or Italy, like, "Hey, come teach us how to make shoes." I was like, "What the fuck? Where were you when I wanted to learn?" Like those are like the key places that make shoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of bugs me out. I mean that one still kind of gets me. It's like, but I understand, like, I'm a face and I'm a culture and I do things differently. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about like how to make the shoe.
So it sells out, 30 people. What are people getting for $3,000? What is it today?
Yeah, we provide the shoes, so everyone gets a pair of shoes
which also makes your life easier.
Yeah.
On the back end, right? Of like one shoe we're all designing, right?
Yeah. That's
a learning.
Biggest mistake. So we provide the shoes, we provide all of the materials, we provide lunch every day, we provide obviously the knowledge, the machinery access, a whole brochure of just like where to get everything, and then we provide like an event and a dinner for everyone.
Oh, that's dope.
We provide, so that's the thing, you got to feel it because it's like a family atmosphere. Like there's 30 people from all over the world that come from different backgrounds, but there's no ego, which I feel like that's hard to come by these days.
Of course.
So it's like a family atmosphere. Everyone just has a good time. The other thing we provide is like the ability to collaborate with us. So one person at the end of it will put the shoes up for a vote online, and one winner will get to collaborate with us and we'll produce that shoe.
Oh shit, super dope.
And then the proceeds, I mean, they make their money back for the class.
Mm-hmm. I love it. What's your goal for shoe surgeon school long term? Is that, how many would you like to do? Is it?
Yeah, we're planning out next year right now. The goal is to, it's funny though, because some of the people that actually take the classes are like Nike employees.
Really?
Or just,
don't get nobody fired. No.
Yeah, I know. different people from different industries. It's cool, but I think it's something very important to provide workshop type of experiences, because you're not investing a year. You're not investing a ton of time, because that's the most important thing that we don't and we do have is our time. So if you can give them bite-sized pieces, they can feel it out. They love it. They're going to keep going with it. They're like, no, that was cool, but that's not for me. Mm-hmm. I think there's something important with that, and that's how I feel like schooling should be. Other than what I'm doing right now, I think it's very important for me to go back to the youth and get this kind of stuff to the youth. And, I have my son just turned 3 yesterday.
Oh, wow. Dope. Congrats.
So thank you. I think we need to get stuff like this, makers classes, to them at a very early age, so they can test it out earlier. If they like it, like music, like he's in music class. If he likes it, he'll keep doing it. If he likes soccer, he'll keep playing it, whatever it is. But I think this kind of stuff, like trade work, should also be introduced to them at a very young age.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think for me, I always say, like, and I'm older than you, but like our parents' generation was like, no. You're going to go to school. You're going to get a good job. You're going to support your family and do what you're passionate about on the fucking weekends. You know what I'm saying? Like, passion isn't paying the light bill, right? Yeah. And I think our generation has figured out, and again, no shots at them. They were doing the best they could and trying to prepare us, right? Obviously. But I think our generation has realized, hey, you know what? If you're really, and you're a great example of it, if not the greatest, if you're passionate about something and you really commit to something, you can make a really good living out of it. So we're not going to force our kids into anything. We're going to encourage you to help find your passion, whether that be music, DJing, dancing, whatever it is. I think it's super dope. I think, it's a great transition into, the one thing I wanted to ask you. You just recently came off a Complex Con.
Yep.
And I love what that's become because it's almost, Joe LaPuma is a friend of both of ours. He likes to say it's like what the internet would be physically if you put it into the real world. What was your experience at Complex Con? Like,
This year's been the best yet.
Okay.
I've been there since the first year, so 3 years ago now, or 2 years ago now. They were a little crazier, but I had this same conversation earlier today, I believe, or yesterday, and it's like, yeah, you want the energy from what it would be like on the internet. That's why it is a little crazy, and it's only 2 days. It's only 2 days of your life, so if it's too crazy for you, it's 2 days. But this year has been the best yet. They separated the music. They made a way bigger area for food separated. They kind of spread it out a little bit more. The separating the music was huge because the music used to be right in it, which was a little intense.
Yeah.
But it was good. That's the energy. Like you get to meet everyone in a sense on the internet. Like I know all these people through the internet, but I like to shake someone's hand and like say, hey man, I really respect your work, and be able to see someone face to face is, I feel like, a huge part that we're missing. So Complex Con does that.
Dope. Athletes, talent, are people reaching out more often? What's that been like? Who have you done work for?
I don't really like talking about it because I don't like, what's the word? I don't like putting it on blast because it's not what I'm about. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy that, NBA play, just athletes and artists and actors reach out to me.
So I'll make this easier for you. I know you did a shoe for LeBron, right? No.
Yeah. So
what was that process like? Did Nike reach out to you? It was first 30,000.
Well,
right?
well, yeah. So before I even did that one, I did one for. I'm sure you know Brennan.
Of course.
So he reached.
What's up, Brennan?
Well, yeah. Shout out to
great dude.
Don C. Don C.
Great
introduced me to him.
By the way, our whole world is like maybe 1.5 degrees of separation.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Which I think is always really dope. But Brennan. So Brennan, through Don C, reaches out to you?
Yeah, and he wanted. Let me see how to word this. He wanted an all gold shoe for the GQ.
Oh, that's right. Did you do that shit?
Oh yeah.
That's a dope.
Thank you.
Dope shoe, by the way.
Thank
I didn't
you.
know you did that.
No, that was all Brennan. That was his idea.
Very
I was
dope
just able
shoe.
to bring his idea to
I
life.
can tell you this. I was with Bron when he saw the shoe, lost his mind.
Well, that was the best part. Was he was like he's wearing them. You know what I mean? So I did that for them. That was successful. I mean, Brennan's a genius.
He's amazing.
So then Nike wanted to gift LeBron a pair of shoes for hitting 30,000 points. Mm-hmm. So they showed me that picture of the other one I did. They're like, we want something like this, but like real gold and this stuff and that.
Don't you love when a brand comes to you like, we want this, but even bigger? You're like, Jesus, this is big. Like,
I know, no, that was good, and it was a struggle because they wanted it in like 3 days.
I'm sure.
And it's like, I hate saying no, but I have learned to like, quality is on the line, so sometimes you have to be like, no, we need time. Mm-hmm. So that was like a 6 month process just to get that shoe right.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 months.
That's nuts.
Because I sourced real solid gold, solid gold plated crocodile. You can't really have solid gold, hard gold on croc. But they actually electroplate gold on top of it. So the first batch I got was fucked up. Like I made a shoe out of it, it came off. So I had to probably make 5 samples before I could even get it right.
Wow.
Then I had the jewelry made, all of the metal pieces, the real gold, diamonds, and that came out shitty the first time. So then I had to retake. I mean, it was a very expensive project. It was a fun project, and I think it was more expensive for me than anyone, but it was for someone that I respected from, as a person that built something big for himself, and it was. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to work with Nike on a project for LeBron.
Super dope. Let me ask you. So, and I got to get you out of here because I know you actually have a shoe school tomorrow. But you've worked with the biggest athletes, biggest talent, biggest brands. You have your own school, you know, with 2019 almost upon us, which is crazy. What are you looking forward to? What are your goals for 2019, either personally or for the school, or for the Shoe Surgeon brand? What are you excited about?
Planning. I've always been a person that hasn't really planned. It just like happens. So I've known sustainability of a business and success is going to have to come from planning. So that's a huge thing. Right now I'm drawing up floor plans at a new space in downtown LA, and we want to put a basketball court on the roof.
Oh, dope.
You can actually see from the freeway, the 110 and the 10 meet downtown LA, you can see the roof, so we want to put a basketball court
I
there.
might have a couple of minutes left. If I get the right stretch going, man, you never know, man.
That and the original line. So I've been working on my original shoes for the past, I don't know, I would say since, the past 8 years.
A Shoe Surgeon original line.
Yeah, it wouldn't be called Shoe Surgeon. It's more Chambrone.
Okay.
But it's I already offer it to like private clients that can come into the studio.
Gotcha.
But that's going to be a huge focus.
Oh, very dope.
Pushing the schools, doing more stuff for the kids in the community. What else for 2019?
You're acting like that's not enough, like launching your own line, school, community. Let me ask you this. So before I get you out of here, for our listeners that are interested in knowing more about the school, where do they go to find out more about the school?
I mean, you can check out Instagram, The Shoe Surgeon, or the website shoesurgeonshoeschool.com, or check out theshoesurgeon.com.
Dope. No better way to end it. Thanks. I know you're super busy.
No, thank
and
you.
You came to NY for school. Good to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
We'll kick it off microphone.
Yeah.
But again, man, congrats. I mean, there's only a handful of people literally moving the culture and doing like really dope shit for the right reasons. So congrats to you, and I'm excited to see where you take the brand. So
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me.